just for a little bit of syncing here. 1, 0, and we're off. By the way, if you do not know who we are, this is I am Moletrap, and I'm here with Diggity. We are doing a dual commentary. We've been doing English commentaries on another account, and VioleTAK has given up Starcraft, gone on to bigger and better things, and he has given us his account so that we can use it to upload longer videos and what have you. And so much props and thanks to VioleTAK for that. This is a match between Uvi and Stork, and this is the ace match of the matchup between SKT1 and Samsung Khan. And Diggity, I believe you have some information about some bad blood between these two teams in the past.
Yeah, kicking it off right. Special thanks to VioleTAK once again. He is my freaking hero. That's what it comes down to. Quick thing on the side, also Klaz is back. Go check him out if you haven't already. Getting to the matchup, by the way, the map is Baekmagoji, if I didn't pronounce that right, whatever. And it looks like in the 1 o'clock position we have iloveoov, in the 7 o'clock position we have Stork in orange and yellow respectively. Anyway, getting to the actual rivalry, it turns out there was a player from SKT1 that was upset with iloveoov, and it's questionable basically why he got upset, but kind of the general premise is that he was pissed off at iloveoov because he was getting more attention from Boxer than this player was, that being Zerg Lee, if you guys are familiar with him. Anyway, he got kicked off because Uvi and him just apparently had such a bad relationship that it was necessary. So when they met in Pro League, I think it might have been the first season of 2007, SKT1 just got absolutely dominated by Khan. And I'm not sure what happened in between, but I do believe that Zerg Lee talked a little bit of trash in there. He was in the 2v2 matchup. Then, right after that match, we had iloveoov saying, "I'm going to absolutely own you guys next time we meet," promising an absolute dominant win by Samsung Khan. And as it turns out, when they met again, sure enough, looks like Uvi, SKT just absolutely dominated Khan 3-1. And I guess in a very impressive manner. And iloveoov was in one of those matches, pulled a Superman, pulled off his shirt, and had on that shirt, "Don't get cute." And of course, in the midst of this, that pissed Stork off, understandably. Didn't take that so well, so now we've got a gigantic rivalry between these two teams, and specifically between Stork and iloveoov, so this match is going to be absolutely intense. Both players want this so bad.
Right. Both of those players kind of being the lead players of their respective teams. Stork being I mean, one of the top. He's number 2 in the Kespa rank. He's basically the second best Starcraft player in the world right now. Uvi, having been the best player in the world for a while before this. Yeah. So just to give you a little bit of what's going on in the lead up to this matchup, it's been a pretty crazy match so far. The first game, I'm going to spoil it for you, so just so you know that. The first game was a couple Zergs, aren't very big names, Hyuk versus Odin, and that was absolutely insane. Normally in Zerg versus Zerg games, one player gets in a hit on the other's economy, and that's GG, because it's almost impossible to come back from an economy hit in Zerg versus Zerg. And what happened is Odin actually went in and did a nice little hit and took out half of Hyuk's economy. And I said to myself out loud there, I was just watching the game by myself, I'm like, oh, GG, Samsung takes the first match. And through like the longest Zerg versus Zerg game I've ever seen, Hyuk finally came back and took the match. So SKT1 went up 1-0. Then was Midas versus Firebat Hero, and Firebat Hero tried this really kind of actually stupid little sort of rush where he didn't really commit enough to the rush for it to really do much good, and he got caught off guard. And here's the thing where it comes to why it's probably part of the rivalry is Midas countered the rush, went in there, absolutely raped Firebat Hero's economy. He had like 4 SCVs left in his base, and Midas had like, a dozen plus. Started getting his extra command center, and instead of finishing him off, Midas either wanted to humiliate him, or Midas is a complete noob, because he just didn't run in and finish him off with vultures. He just camped and contained him for like 20 minutes until finally Firebat Hero gave up. And I don't know why Midas was doing that, unless it was either he's a coward or he was just trying to humiliate him. The 2v2 was pretty crazy too, actually, because Samsung must have been pissed. They absolutely, completely owned the 2v2, and then in Game 4, it was all or nothing for Stork versus July Zerg, and July Zerg put up a damn good fight for a little bit, but then Stork dropped a quarter, and July Zerg went to pick it up, and Stork just kind of went to work on him. It was pretty harsh. It was almost painful to watch, actually. So, anyways, that's kind of a recap of what's going on up to here. I would have interrupted if we saw anything abnormal, but so far we've been seeing pretty normal play. Both players kind of going for pretty fast tech build. No major encounters yet, so looking for a long game. By the way, this is he mentioned Baekmagoji. On this map, your main base starts off with a ton of minerals and 2 gas. So we see a lot of long games on this map because of the fact that it's almost impossible to starve someone out quickly on this map because you have so many minerals and gas just to start off with.
And you end up seeing a lot of fast tech, and the only thing that's kind of going out of characteristic right here is it looks like Stork is planning on expanding before doing an initial attack. He put a couple pylons to the north. You can see it on the mini-map, and it looks like actually he's going for a Stargate. So, yeah, going for a little bit of cheese here.
Well,
might be going for
we've seen
quite a bit recently
going for the early carriers. In the past, until like the last few weeks, you almost never saw Stork go carriers unless it was a long game. But I've seen him a couple times in the last few weeks go for relatively quick carriers. If he takes an early advantage or even an early stalemate, he'll switch over against Terrans, which is kind of interesting since the rest of his build was completely normal. He almost always does that robotics facility, a couple gates, observatory, thing. So
the absolutely shocking thing, the shocking thing to me is he's been doing it out of basically really small builds. I mean, he does have 2 gas here, but prior matches he's only done it off like 2 Nexus, and equivalent with those 2 gas here, it is possible to see the carriers out of this. As you can see, it looks like iloveoov mounting up for an attack. There's a couple pylons to the north. It looks like Stork is kind of blocking off from Vulture raids there. It looks like he might be caught out of position. He's bringing those units around.
Sorry, it could work to his advantage because Uvi doesn't even have both of his gases going right now. So Stork has a definite gas advantage there. Uvi trying to pull a reach around here, going around the top though. I don't know if Stork is aware of that. He's got that pylon block there, so that'll slow him down. But he may have to fall his Dragoons back there to take care of those tanks. He's gonna have to fall something back. Those pylons are probably gonna go down pretty quick actually. But Stork appears to just kind of be pushing down on Uvi, trying to do a counter. No, you can see on the map his Dragoons are being pulled around the top. He's gonna try and reach around on that reach around and actually try and hit Uvi's tanks from behind as he's trying to go in. So, this is gonna be crazy.
I'm not sure that Uvi has siege mode either. Looks like, it doesn't look he has siege mode upgraded. So he's gonna get pinned in. He's gonna lose all these tanks, all these marines.
He's getting pinchered by Dragoons on both sides. Excellently played by Stork, realizing that and pulling the counter reach around there. That was absolutely excellent. That was crazy.
I'm surprised actually he didn't try to force an attack on Uvi's main, but that ended up paying off for him. As you can see, a couple of vultures pulling down those mines. Not going to be terribly worthwhile. A lot of observers out. Just going to try to delay Stork and kind of get a spot on that extra expansion going out.
Yeah.
And a little bit.
Stork doesn't even have an expansion up yet. He doesn't have an expansion up yet. He's getting carriers out. He's getting carriers out already with 1 Nexus.
Ooh, and Uvi just did a scan right on that tech, so he knows carriers are coming. Now the question is he going to be able to get enough Goliaths out in time and get that Charon booster upgrade to deal with this? He has 3 factories out. I think he'll be okay, but really he's going to have to still pull off some decent amount of micro, basically protecting those Goliaths from those Dragoons.
Honestly, if I was Uvi, I would go with vultures and raids more than Goliaths, because we've been seeing a lot of that lately. And really, I think you mentioned some of this before, the Goliaths just usually don't cut it against carriers once they get enough carriers. And raids, I think, are a lot more maneuverable and what have you, especially since he doesn't have a lot of gas to get tanks and carriers, because basically what happens is if the Terran gets a lot of Goliaths, then all the Protoss has to do is switch back to Dragoons, and the Dragoons will own the Goliaths and then make room for the carriers to just move in. And wow, Stork doing some excellent micro, holding back those vultures. That was kind of crazy. Like, he was trying to rush across that bridge, and Stork with just two Dragoons holding back that force of vultures long enough for a little bit of reinforcements to come in.
I'm a little bit worried about Stork's play right here. He's pushing up with a lot of Dragoons and he's losing a lot of Dragoons. It looks like he still has a full control group, but really he needs to conserve them if this carrier push is going to be successful. He needs to conserve those Dragoons so he can push into those, basically the ground forces. Still no Goliaths out from uoov, and I don't know if he's laying off that. I'm pretty sure he saw it. Looks like he's going in for a Vulture.
Researching Siege Mode, because I haven't seen Siege Mode from him yet. His machine shop was twirling, so he's probably researching Siege Mode. Honestly, Siege Mode is a little bit more priority than Charm Boosters at this point. Stork finally
I think he had Siege Mode here. He already has Siege Mode up, I think. He was going, my guess is probably going for the Charm Booster upgrade right there for the Goliath.
My bad.
So he is going to have it, but the question is he going to have enough to kind of fight this force off? And is he going to have the units on the ground to fight off this large Dragoon force? Being a little careless there on Stork losing 2 Dragoons.
Yeah.
Oh, and sneaky, and I thought uoov's going to be able to sneak in, but Stork
got Dragoons in the right spot. Yeah, that's
brilliant.
That's something again that you see a lot from Terran players against Protoss. Vultures trying to sneak in there and kill off a bunch of probes, and Stork has denied that every single time in this game. It is an absolutely key feature of the Terran strategies to be able to harass Protoss economy, and uoov has not been able to do that a single bit. He's definitely fallen behind at this point, although he does have his expansion up, and Stork is just now getting his up. So uoov kind of, I would say economically even, because of the fact that even though he hasn't harassed, his economy in this has not been harassed either. So
I think he's a little bit ahead here, but, well, first of all, Terran, when you have those 2 expansions, you can just camp and you can mass, and you'll end up beating the Protoss in the long run without a huge tech advantage. Well, obviously, Carrier is a decent tech advantage here, and that Barracks is going to end up going down here in a second, but I don't think that's too big a cost to uoov. He already has quite a few factories out. But basically, yeah, you just can't let your Terran opponent mass like that, and uoov is the macro master, and he is good at massing quickly, and as you can see, he has a large force of tanks and Goliaths already.
Well, he used to be the macro master at one point. He basically invented what macro is these days, but he's been a little bit off from his prime lately, obviously. I have to say, though, this is looking very bad for uoov, because he doesn't have a lot of Goliaths out, A, and B, Stork has 4 carriers out now. He's going to have 6 in about 3 minutes, and there are, as you can see, there's plenty of map artifacts. Stork can just run his carriers across lakes, and across little neutral buildings and piles of useless minerals that don't work and trees and stuff, and he's just completely keeping his carriers away from those Goliaths, just picking stuff off right here, and that's basically how the carriers equal the win in this kind of a game, and that's why I was thinking on this map, Raves would have been a lot better for him to go. He's comsatting that expansion. Looks like he's going to try and run in with those Vultures. Stork's all over it, though. Maybe he's not all over it, actually. It looks like he's going to lose.
Well, he's going to be able to pick off 2 before losing. Yeah, he managed to pick off a couple there. And really, I don't know if Stork's actually going to build any more carriers. When I've seen him in the past couple games going up against opponents, he is building actually a couple more. He's only stuck with the 4, very small grouping, and then supplementing with Dragoons. But uoov actually, as you can see, double upgrading in the meantime. I'm actually curious what his upgrades are at. I wish I could get a look.
I saw that from someone. There we go. He's at 1-1. uoov's at level 1 upgrades. It looks like just for weapons. We've seen that a little bit. I saw that in a game lately where the Protoss went some carriers, and then instead of going all carriers, they just used them as kind of support harass units, and it worked really, really well. So if we see Stork doing something like that, I think it could work pretty well for him. Especially, I hate to say it again, but I really think he should have gone for Raze. Oh my gosh, Stork going all the way around, getting Dragoons all up in his base. It looks like uoov is actually ignoring that. He's not bringing his forces back. He's going straight for uoov. You can see his forces moving on uoov's moving on Stork's secondary here. Honestly, I think Stork has the advantage in this situation, though, because that's only his expansion, whereas Stork is in his main. If he destroys those factories, that is GG for uoov without any means to produce backup units.
This is going to be really interesting. Basically, it's going to be who can do the more damage faster. Is if uoov can basically clear out those buildings, he's going to end up coming away with this. uoov is going to have an easier time against those carriers, simply because those carriers are going to have to engage uoov basically, Stork's going to have to engage on uoov's turns. He's going to be going into the Goliaths, but in the meantime, as you can see, he's just waiting on that ridge.
Because of that, yeah, you're right. Because he's on the attack now. Now Stork has to engage uoov in this case. And, but, I don't know, like I said, I just see uoov coming out of this a little bit, Stork coming out of this a little bit better. Those Goliaths are slowly going down. uoov had that advantage, but he's not drawing them in. He's building a crap load of turrets there, but I don't think those are going to do a lot of good because Lee has lost almost all of his factories now. He's having to bring out his SCVs, and Stork in the meantime building 2 more bases to work from. Those tanks can do a lot of damage very quickly though, so we'll see if he can maybe take out those gateways and those stargates pretty quick. I think he might be able to if he had Goliaths coming in, but he just doesn't. He just doesn't have the factories for it.
Really what iloveoov needs to do now is he needs to expand someplace else, but as you can see, all his SCVs are getting pinned in and absolutely destroyed by that Dragoon force. So even though Stork is losing his main, I think Stork has the game.
Yeah, this is game for Stork. So that was well played by iloveoov, I have to say. Doing an excellent job of, trying his best basically, but Stork just too damn good for him, stopping his harassment, stopping his attacks at every turn, and man, iloveoov looking a little bit despondent there. Stork looking pretty proud of himself, and yeah, these guys. Oh no, he didn't! No! Stork acting like a... Oh, Stork. You used to have honor, unlike your teammate Firebat Hero, but you had to go and imitate him there. Oh, man, turning... Okay, if it wasn't a rivalry before, SKT1 has got to be pissed now. Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
Hope you guys enjoyed that audio commentary. That's been another dual commentary by Moletrap and Diggity. If you, I guess we'll put a link to ourselves in the VioleTAK account. If you enjoyed this, we got more stuff up, and also check out Klaz as always.
Indeed. All right. Peace out, y'alls.